Hey everybody, it's Pal Drew, and I'm going to do another fun episode of Did Kirby create this character or not? That's not exact. I'm paraphrasing here. So I'm going to start off with the Sentinels, man. Oh my god. Then strike the Sentinels. I had one of my earliest purchases of X-Men. It was in reprints at the time, and issue 1 of the new Giant Size X-Men introduced the all-new, all-different X-Men. Well, like a lot of books later in the year of 75 going 76, they went all reprint. So they called it an annual collection of the X-Men's Greatest Battle. So that kind of told you, well, we won't see 3 till next year. But instead they brought back the term annuals, which used to be king size, actually. So we're starting here with some beautiful Neil Adams, Tom Palmer art. And I had this coverless copy of this when I was a kid, and it still holds up under a lot of rereadings. And the Sentinel Strike, man, it's so creepy. And actually, the first time I saw the Sentinels, now that I think of it, was the Dave Cockrum era when he did issue 98, I think it was. Yeah. And it's just amazing stuff. But here come. That's such a trippy cover. It doesn't really quite work. It's so indulgent, but it's fun. But it doesn't really work. Who am I going to say on Neil Adams won't? So there he goes. Simultaneously, this guy's he's talking in terms of. While he's talking, it's ironic what they're doing simultaneously. It was the thing Alan Moore would do. He'd said, so then you might fight fire with water, speed with endurance, or cold with scalding, shattering steam. So that kind of stuff. Really cool, really cool. But when did these characters come along, and did Jack Kirby have anything to do with it? And there's a lot of great characters, and a lot of them he didn't do, but many more he's done. So, got this. Man, what I love about this is it has a matte cover and not a shiny cover. So, let's go. Let's go. Each year as I get older, it becomes more of a hassle. Well, here we are, people. Jack Kirby invented the Sentinels. The design, anyway. I don't know if him and Stan talked about it or whatnot. A second. There we go. Booga booga booga! Yoinks! Let's walk the Sentinels. I always love the beginning too. The beast on crutches doing his agility thing. So, and I always love these kind of pages too. I wonder if these kind of things are Grail pages, even though it's breakdowns by Kirby. Bear with me a second. But it's Jay Gavin, a.k.a. I can't think of that guy's name. Did the penciling. Werner Roth. So they strapped those wings back. But later on, when Neil Adams would do the X-Men, he would have Warren Worthington's wings go way out like an actual bird. And this sort of thing wouldn't pass anymore. But love Cyclops. Got those. Beast got those big old feet with the hinge. I love it, but there they are, the Sentinels. So, yeah, how about that? Kirby creates so many great characters, and he inspired others to create great characters, too. So, this isn't necessarily a game of, who's better, Kirby or the other guys. I just think Kirby is sort of the alpha dog of creating comics, and I gotta make myself a little room. Okay, now we got the Sphinx. This is a Keith Pollard page from Fantastic Four, inked by Joe Sennett. And there's the FF there. This is from issue 208. Beautiful stuff. I love the design. And what puts me a little bit in the mind of Kirby when I'd first seen it was that he tended to do symmetrical designs, like utilitarian designs. He didn't really do like a lot of people do now, they'll do a cutout here, like a John Byrne design. It's pretty cool. But actually, his first appearance was in Nova number 7. How about that cover? Pretty cool. Bear with me a second. I've got a lot of books here. And I only have one back. I don't have enough room. I have to like clear out my room completely to put this stuff away. So, meantime, just enjoy that. Well, here's Nova number 6. And the Condor, Diamond Head, and Powerhouse. Pretty cool characters. Love that cover. It looks kind of, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Rich Buckler? I don't know. Because that back puts me in the mind of it. So, who knows. But, and so the Sphinx. And I looked it up, and this is the very first appearance. And I'm sure there's some hardcore fans. There's a lot of people trying to, not necessarily, there's like a secondary market where they're trying to find any cool villains, not necessarily ones that have been represented in the Marvel Cinematic Universe yet. But, so this might be worth more because it's the first appearance of the Sphinx. And he did show up later in the 90s and the 2000s as well, but I haven't kept up on it. But up until this issue, for 5 issues, Condor, he and Diamond Head and this guy here, Powerhouse, they kept calling him the Dreaded One, the Dreaded One. And then as soon as you show the Phoenix to the reader, then all of a sudden he's no longer the Dreaded One. He's the Sphinx. So it wasn't Kirby, but you know, it really, I would say Sal, who I'm pretty sure designed it. Maybe him or John Romita, I could be wrong. Yeah, but it wasn't Kirby. But like I said, Kirby's on everyone's mind when it comes to comic book characters, and it comes to really, just really smart quality characters. Party like it's 1989. This was the 89 update. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The Scarlet Centurion. Boy, is that nice. I wonder who did that. I'm going to go back, though. Yeah, Scarlet Centurion. He first showed up in the Avengers. Then he showed up in the late 80s, about 86, with Squadron Supreme. And he's pretty interesting. He's a time traveler. And from whence did he came? Well, he came from Avengers Annual 2, and this was the best interior full shot I could do that involved him. And the designs and stuff like that, I'd argue that the artist Don Heck designed him, because it's this kind of stuff is very different than Kirby. I would concur Kirby. So I really think, I mean, it was expanded on in this Marvel Universe, but yeah, it wasn't Kirby, that was Don Heck. So now we're going to move on. Okay, let me make some room here. So we can learn together. I can put this out of the way. La 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 la. Okay, now we have Orca, the dreaded killer whale. This was the last issue of the long running Squadron Supreme Roxxon Oil storyline. Steve Englehart and George Perez had worked on for a year, and this is right before issue 150, so they wrap everything up. This cover here, that looks very Perez right there. That looks very Perez there, and I guarantee that no. Frank Giacoya inked it, because he's always a little harder than Romita. He's got the Romita juice going, but he's a little harder. But the face, I'm sure, is a Romita redraw. So really good stuff. Oh my gosh, look at it. And George would draw these buildings like it was nothing. I can't imagine how many buildings he's drawn in his life if someone ever took the time to, count them. And just like that, that's lunacy, but it's great. I love Beast would go bop. Okay, this is back when comics were only 17 pages. 2 pages of story, 2 pages of comic or of ads. So this isn't really important here. This isn't germane to the Kirby question. Oh, I love this. Look out! It's Blam, and he's already on the cover. What's the mystery? See, the smart thing to do, but I mean, I didn't question these things back then, is to do him mostly in shadow, like black. And we just black behind him already, and just have his face show, and but it kind of spoils it. But that happened with a lot of comics in the Bronze Age, or actually before that. Here comes Thor, and here comes Orca, the human killer whale. Real quick aside, when Mark Grunwald, Mike Carlin, Elliot E. Brown, I think his name was, I'm sorry if I'm not getting it right, Elliot Brown, and a bunch of others, Peter Sanderson came up with the Marvel Universe official handbook. They worked that outside of their regular jobs, like their day jobs were editors for comics and as well as writers, and they worked on that book on evenings and weekends. And the cold, they turned off the heat in the building over the weekends, and so they would just get like delirious. They'd be like, they come up with Orca, and the big joke was calling him Orca Dorca Doo, just because it cracks me up with the backstory. So here he is. It's like he's got a really cool kind of Kirby thing to him with that face. Puts me in mind of Kang the Conqueror, and the belt looks like something that was maybe updated because Perez did that. He would tweak stuff like that. So what we find out is that Orca Dorca Doo is not a Kirby creation. He is actually designed by Marie Severin. The Coming of Orca. Great cover. Love it. First appearance. So, not a Kirby creation. But I could see where somebody who's new to comics might think, get him confused with Atuma, first appeared in Fantastic Four number 33. And, man, I love that. But he's a great character, too. I was going to do that one, but it seems a little more obvious. There's a little Kirbyisms in there. So, Orca is a Marie Severin design. Marie the She, who was instrumental in keeping Marvel afloat, along with the Buscema brothers after Jack Kirby left Marvel. Let me get rid of this so I know I'll have to get back to it. But yeah, Orca's always been kind of nifty. I deem him nifty. So, here we go. Now we got some longtime villains of Daredevil, Cobra and Mr. Hyde. And they were creepy. The Cobra and Mr. Hyde. I mean, they followed him throughout the years. This isn't even all the Cobra and Hyde stories of Daredevil that I have. So, what happens is Daredevil loses his radar sense, and he's actually literally blind. So that's pretty neat. I love that. Gene Colan, he's just such a vivid storyteller. Favorite bit, I never tire this bit. Turn out the lights, man, because you know more shit what's going on than they do. Or you're on an even playing field. So you had that. Issue 32. And we jump 110 issues to this. This is a John Buscema figure right there. I could tell the woman is, and the rest is by Frank Giacoia. He's doing those really bold blacks, and there we see those guys again. They're pesky cool effers. So, but Bob Brown does Mr. Hyde. He does a really good job, and Jim Mooney, who's inking this issue, he's really giving it a great old school look to these two creeps. These two ugly SOBs. Oh, here's a little dart. wonder if anybody bought those Meet the Marvel Mites, you know. And I'm sure, I don't think they would be, if they were originally around, if they hadn't reproduced them since, I imagine they are torn. They stink of slobber from the decades and are just plain filthy. But I wonder if they ever like came out with these again. I don't know. It's pretty weird. And a superhero hat. I would have liked the tassel cap like that. But back then, if you were a superhero fan, you were a geek and you were considered subliterate and very unfriendly names that they give some slow adult. Okay. So that's how it was back then, baby. You kept that stuff in a closet. Beautiful Bob Brown storytelling. What I really like. Here's Howard the Duck. Boom. This is stuff I really enjoy. Whoa-wee. Woo-wee. Then a few issues later, 10 issues later or so, Cobra and Hyde come back again, along with Gene the Dean Colan, inked by Tony DiZuniga. So you got those troublemakers again. Wow. Such great characters. You know, they really were Daredevil's foes, although they fought other people. But who created them? Well, King Kirby. Which is kind of interesting. They have fought him like in the last few decades or so, but I don't know if they've done them in recent years. There's so many books coming out now. But here is Thor and the Human Cobra. Really cool. Without Mr. Hyde, just the Human Cobra was the crowbar. Listen to me. And it's penciled by Don Heck, pencil and inked. Now I'm curious, did Don Heck design the Cobra or did Kirby? It's just something I'm curious about because the design doesn't seem cut and dry to me. Like that's a real, I mean, that seems like the drawing of someone who knows the costume, what it's going to look like. And he also did some weird helmets like Crimson Dynamo and other stuff like that. So I would almost give it to Cobra. I mean, give it to Don Heck. But if you know better, please, or if you just want to debate it or whatever, I'm not going to fight because we're all fans. Let me know what you think about the Cobra. And like that sort of thing. I don't know. That seems like a very different kind of style for Kirby, but we'll see. But the next issue we get Mr. Hyde, baby. Cover by Kirby and probably Jack Russos, just slapping ink on there with Wild Abandon. But the interior is Don Heck again. For the first year or so, they tried all these different artists to take over Thor, but nobody had the majesty that Kirby could provide. So, scary stuff though. I love Heck still. It's just very different. So, there's Mr. Hyde. Now, designing Mr. Hyde, I wouldn't say it would take much. It could be either Kirby or Heck, because it's not much of a... He's just this ugly bruiser with a cloak. So, you know, when they team up later... but the Cobra thing's a mystery. So, so if you know out there, you have an inkling, an idea, let me know. And I'm going on to... Well, I have to move so much. So very much. Okay, then we got this guy called the Sandman. I love that gray in the background. Oh, so much. Love it. And the rim lighting on the figures it's just exquisite. So the Frightful Four with Medusa before anybody knew who Medusa would be in the Inhumans, and later on Sandman would get the Kirby upgrade to this totally insane costume I love. Supposedly it was built by the Wizard to help Sandman induce some chemicals into his body where he can form a different sort of, I don't know, like some kind of different substance. But anyway, it's he got a lot of, like that costume stuck for a while. And I even have it. Whoop, there it is. I think Trimpy was looking at that previous cover, but yeah, he appeared. And then later on, he went back to his old striped shirt, and then he brought it back, and it kind of went back and forth on whoever the artist was and whatever he felt like. And it was always like a word balloon. It goes, I just figured I'd wear my old civvies like before, or I don't know, this was a pretty cool look. Like they would have to tell the readers to avoid any confusion. So, as for the readers, give me a second. Not you. No. It's not your time, pal. Maybe it is. Give me a minute, okay? Well, we got Captain Universe here. This is done by Ditko. He did several issues of this Immortal Spotlight in the late 70s. And that's a great cosmic costume. I just love it. All these little connected worlds. But it wasn't Kirby, and it wasn't Ditko. It was the mighty Mike Golden, as many fans already know. At least when I see a page on Focus. Yep, first appearance to Captain Universe. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Michael Golden. He doesn't use that G anymore. Maybe I should use it for my name, Tracy. Boy, that would get me in shit list. I was making it funny. Well, there he is, Captain Universe taking on Baron Karza. Oh, that's so breathtaking. I have the IDW artist edition of Michael Golden's Micronauts, and it just makes me fall in love with all over again. It's just such a good series. Now, with the Sandman, let me go back. Did I screw up with the Sandman? Oh, well, anyway, Sandman, he first appeared in Spider-Man. He was a Ditko character, and Kirby just took a real liking to him. And, boy, that's so cool. I also have that Taschen, whatever they call it, those huge books that are like, have 20-some issues in of Spider-Man. So this was fun to reread again. So there we go. He had designed Sandman, even though Sandman was in a lot of Kirby books. And, hold on. Now we go to the Sentinel of the Spaceways. As soon as I'm done fidgeting about. Oof. Hey, I didn't say this was a 100% professional show. This is the omnibus. I came out like in 2008 or so, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot of padding, double-sized issues out in space. A lot of, and it was definitely, what is it? Not deconstruction, deflated. It's when a story takes way too long, decompressed. So each of these double-sized issues could have been a single issue. So we have the Stranger, my least favorite villain possibly in classic Marvel, because he shows up, every time he showed up he had a different agenda, and it was never ever explained. But supposedly in the late 80s, early 90s, they explained all these stupid ass appearances, but I just hate him. Sorry, can't love every character. So, and there he is, showing some leg. Get zonked by the surfer. He actually kind of looks like, I'm trying to think of the guy, Rip Taylor, the guy who would have the bucket full of paper mache, the old comedian. So this poor scientist, he gets killed trying to stop this bomb that the Stranger planted for vague reasons at best. And he's like, because one of the one who perished, not even a stranger can restore life. But I grow weary of the plight of this, a single planet. And I'm like, you jack off. It's like, so, Surfer buries him, Al Harper, and it's a great ending to a story. So, yeah, you know, and to me, that was my first exposure to the Stranger. And I'm like, why did they keep bringing him back and stuff? Well, anyway, later on I found out, zoop, he appeared in X-Men first. And he was a lot more interesting back then. I like the billboard. It's like he's on Broadway. Now introducing the Stranger. He's performing in the streets. And again, the gray buildings and the toned down figures in the back. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh. So, the Stranger. You got the eyes of a stranger. Chick Stone. And here he shows up. He has that mustache already established. He just doesn't have the costume in the story. But Magneto tries to have him join the evil mutants, and this guy thinks that they're petty and they need to go away. But this really cool Kirby, like, I don't know, this alien shape. It's like Uatu the Watcher, but it's different. It curls in, almost like an animal or something would, with those kind of claws. I'm a stranger from the stars. My people are greatly interested in mutations. I journey from taking planet to planet, taking specimens of mutants back to my world for study. I did not know whom to take from Earth. Then the guy called Magneto, and we shall never return. But it was not the last. That wasn't the last. But I mean, this first appearance was 20 times better than the second appearance, which had no footnotes to tell you that this character was around previously. So I thought he was a done-in-one, piece of crap. Getting all angry now. So, what do we do now? Okay, here we go. Yep. Hang on. Bear with me. See, I did that, and I did that, and I did. Next is the Overmind. The Overmind. And he's dressed for interstellar action. Got that cosmic look going. Very Kirby-esque, and it's it kind of puts you in mind with Hercules, those leg bands he wears, and all this stuff. And of course, you have this helmet that maybe Odin left behind one day, but Kirby didn't do it. He first appeared in Fantastic Four, designed by Big John Buscema, and you can see a bit of a difference here, but not significantly. So, but yeah, he came on. I mean, when Kirby left, John Romita was convinced they'd have to cancel Fantastic Four because Kirby had done all those issues, and Stan talked him into taking over the book for a while, and Romita kind of hated it, but he sort of understood. And then when John Buscema came along, he started to get a feel for how to do Kirby-like characters and how to do like Kirby-type action and such. So, and then later on, Overmind joined the Defenders of all things around issue 100 or 110 in the early 80s, and I just didn't understand it. He just kind of stood around and talked, and he was a member. I don't know why. I think maybe it been a Peter Gillis thing or a Jam DeMatteis thing, but you experiment. See what works and what doesn't. And I didn't think it worked, sorry. I love you guys. I really do. So, what do I want to share with you? I gotta think it true. Oh, actually, I gotta think it true. Let's go back to one of the Hulk's biggest pain in the ass characters that I will. Hang on, I'm working on it. Nice John Severed inks there. And it was a weird thing where the Hulk's eyes were all blacked in. Okay, there's that, but after that there is. Just enjoy the pages. Dang nabbit. Give me a second, I'm gonna thumb through this. Finally. Lo, the leader lives. Long time foe of the Hulk. Long time. What's kind of interesting about that is this is a callback. Herb Trimpe was really new on the scene, so once in a while you could sort of look at Jack's stuff and not directly swipe it, but this was very much like a splash page from a Tales to Astonish issue. And there goes the leader. Big old head. Yeah, he thinks he's so cool. He's just got a big old head. And again, it's like for some reason the Hulk's eyes are all blacked in. That's kind of weird. But later on we did see him again many a time. But back in the issue, this is like 280, I think. It's when the Hulk for a period of time, had Bruce Banner's brain. So you got some beautiful Bill Mantlo writing, Sal Buscema and Joe Sinnott. What happened was Byrne took over FF completely. He did pencils, writing, pencils, and inks, and I kind of let Sinnott, up in the air. But he did Hulk for a while, and I was like, yeah. And then he also did Sal on ROM Spaceknight. So I kind of liked Byrne's inks on himself. So to me, it was like 2 good books. So there you got that smug ass leader, as he thinks he is. So that's an e-cover there. So yeah, he's got the, a deadly dangerous man deranged by dreams of domination. See that 3 times fast. And he'll not succeed. I'll find him and stop him or die in the trying. We'll stop him, cousin. So always a cool character. He appeared a few times between this era and the earlier issues. But there's more. By the way, I want to jump ahead for a sec and show you. And Todd McFarlane and Peter David on the Hulk was just fantastic. Fantastic. And then they gave the leader a Jiffy Pop hair. And I think a Jiffy Pop, I could hear it popping every time I see it. I saw the one they used in the Captain America 4 movie, and it was awful. It's like, come on, you guys. There's been so many times you've committed fully to the characters' designs, It's like, don't do it half-assed. And I don't know. But that was just foolhardy on their part. So, but here we go. I'm going to go back. Goes all the way to Tales to Astonish. That leader, he gets around. Oh man, I love this. It came out in $7.95. I paid $25 for this through the Comics Buyer's Guide ads. But late '90s. It's an amazing shape. How about that Bob Larkin cover? He looks like Heat Miser. That's a beautiful cover. So so yeah, you have way back in Tales to Astonish, like a year or 2 into the Hulk's appearance, and wow, that's badass. Hulk must go home. So before that, Steve Ditko did a really good 8-issue run introducing the leader and his indescribable humanoid. So Steve Ditko created the leader and never ever used him again. He had him ongoing for 5-8 months or whatever. I've become something more than human. And there you got it, everybody. It's a Steve Ditko creation. Boy, I love these issues. So fun. And it was a soap opera. It's like 10-page soap opera. Went on and on and on. And then when Ditko, I think at the time Ditko just left Marvel, period. Kirby took over, but he really wasn't invested in it. It just kind of went really aimless. And also he did breakdowns and had not that great artist finishing the art. It was just very odd. But yeah, the leader's a Ditko character. So I was trying to fool you with that. Okay, find something else now. Okay, I have one that I actually need you, the viewer, to help me figure this out, because I'm not certain about Wonder Man. I don't know if this was a Kirby drawing. I mean, it is a Kirby drawing, but I didn't know if it was to establish the look of the character. It just looks different, though. This stuff in the middle here, these little squiggly things, that just doesn't say Kirby to me, at least not in that era, you know, not just yet. This is one of those really cool reproductions, all shiny, cost $3.99. So, Wonderman. And there are some Kirby, the Jack Kirby collector, which is always a great resource, added that Jack was asked to do paste ups of on certain panels, and that's a definite Kirby pose. Art by Don Heck, inked by Dick Ayers, who I just don't think it's a good match. And that first panel there has got a very Kirby touch to it. And that's definitely Heck. He just does really great. He has women like slink or lean on one leg better than just about anybody else, at least in this era. So there's Simon Williams. He was an industrialist competitor of Tony Stark's, and I kind of wish they dropped that, because once in a while, Avengers 192, he came back to Pittsburgh, of all places, to see one of his old places, or I can't remember if he went there or Stark's or something like that. And then later on, he went somewhere else. Oh, Marvel Premiere 55, he went back to the old company he used to own called Williams Innovations or something. And I'm like, except for those 3 times, I've never heard him think like an industrialist. He thinks like a guy who got superpowers, who, when he came back to life, was afraid of dying again because he went through death once already. And then he wanted to become an actor, and he finally fully embraced being an Avenger. But the whole thing with him being an industrialist, I think it would have served him well in a lot of the comics, where he wouldn't just think with his fist. He would be like, he would be almost like Iron Man. I mean, not as nobody beats Tony, but that's the thing that bugs me. So that's one of those like retro things. I don't care if he was a competitor. So, and the other thing that makes it weird to me is the helmet. That helmet is so weird. It just doesn't look like Kirby to me. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. You know, if you let me know your thoughts, everybody. That's always bugging me. That little squiggly thing is just so odd. And there's Kirby right there with the Executioner touch up there. So there was a lot of stuff like that. And it's a good story. It's really good. I love these last 2 panels here. Zoop! Wow! And but you can let me know, because this is truly a mystery to me. I mean, even when I see this cover here from this collection, it just throws me. It's like, that looks pretty good, but a lot of times in the Kirby mid-70s covers of books that he didn't actually work on the interiors, there was a lot of redrawing and touching up by either Maurice Severin or by John Romita. So I'm not sure. It's just a weird... only because another thing, we never saw him again. So I don't know if maybe readers were just dismissive of the character, but I'm glad I came along at a time when he came back to the Avengers, because I used to identify with him. When they do new characters that join teams, whether it's Fantastic Four or Justice League or whoever, you kind of see it through their eyes. It's like, hey, I joined this club, and now how do I measure up to them? That kind of stuff. Geeky stuff. Geeky like me. Now on to ROM Spaceknight. Oh man, I love this book so much. I've said this before. I mean, I got the 3 omnibuses that came out, which I never dreamt I would see in my lifetime. And what I loved about ROM Spaceknight is he basically was the fill-in for the Silver Surfer, because Stan Lee had this goofy edict that only he would write the Silver Surfer. Surfer barely appeared except in early issues of The Defenders by Steve Englehart, who would later on write the ongoing series in 1987. I gotta catch my breath like saying. Okay. So what was great was Bill Mantlo incorporated all these characters from the Marvel Universe and had ROM run into them. And he was like a noble character like the Silver Surfer. For one thing, he was silver, and he also was noble in his deeds. Although the Silver Surfer sometimes created chaos out of frustration of not being to get off the Earth. Ron was like a pure kind of soul that filled that space, and it was cool. I mean, once in a while he'd complain that he was stuck in this cyborg body for 200 years, but he whined even less than Silver Surfer. So, but Starshine dies. I love that logo, that lettering there. That's by a very young Rick Parker. Yep, Parker letters. So he's in this mining town, and these families are dying of radiation poisoning. And they welcome this character from an issue of Hulk who came by. His name was Lincoln. And kids started getting sick around him, and they didn't know he fought the Hulk. Now, but when did he fight the Hulk? Well, let's see. I love that design. It's so simple. When he first fought the Hulk, not in the Kirby comic. Marie Severin, yet again. Got some amazing stuff. And Frank Giacoya. Oh, actually, yeah, it's a script by Bill Everett. That's kind of surprising. Actually, it's art by Marie Severin, inking by George Tuska. So, really nice stuff there. And these guys have some radioactive wastes or makings of a bomb. It's a long story. And there's this eruption that occurs, and one of the people basically evolves from nothing. He becomes a missing link. Then he loses his hair. And then he turns into this big old pink cuddly thing. Except you get radiation burns if you touch him. And he's also... There he is. Designed by Marie Severin, as I said. He's not really... At this time, he's newly born. And like the Hulk, you know, they just lash out because they think, you know, the other's just, you know, a horrible monster. Okay. Thank God for Epic Collections. What's really cool, though, is he punches the arm and it shatters into crystals. You know, like Pop Rocks, except it burns the more he does that. So, he gets a big old teddy bear hug. I love that Hulk punch right there. But all the radiation changes him back to Banner. There's so many stories back here where the same thing that makes him Banner will make him the Hulk again, like radioactivity. Yeah, he gets more. Love that. That's the best. See, about to kill Bruce Banner, and he's like doing that great, you know, procession of faces, and so cool. So yeah, he wasn't Kirby creation either. So like I said, the House of Marvel really owed a lot to Kirby as far as inspiration and such. And I think I have one more. Do I? I don't know. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. I know I'm not quite a polished up TV or YouTuber, but I have fun. I'm trying to do it yourself. Nope, not that one. And okay, Stilt-Man. He's got this crazy, like, big helmet on the back, and I guess that would be a speaker because his mouth is behind it, but they never really implied that. But I don't like that, though. It's a great looking piece of work, but the muscles don't really work for that. But it, you know, I'm not bagging on whoever drew it. But anyway, you'll be curious to find that he was not created by Jack Kirby at all. He was actually created by Wally Wood, soaring to still greater heights of glory. I love that design. And he showed... Someday I'm going to do an episode where I'd sold all my comics back in 1988 like a moron, because I needed to make some money because I was living on my own. But I had pretty much encyclopedic knowledge of the comics that I read countlessly, and some kid, everyone was asking for X-Men. The X-Men comics sold out like crazy because they were super hot at the time, and some kid came up to me and said, you got anything with Stilt-Man? I think he's kind of cool. I pulled out like an issue of Thor, a couple of Daredevils, and I was like, you know, if I get into comics, kid, it'll be for you. The kid who loves Stilt-Man. And I do too. And he can be menacing. So there we go. That is magnificent. I love that. A lot of people use him to put him to good use. The funny thing is, the last appearance of Daredevil had him, Wilbur Day, I think was his name, had him knocked out from behind by the ongoing character. I can't think of his name. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. And somebody stole his Stilt-Man outfit, and it was riches of embarrassment, and that's all. It showed Frank Humor actually could do a humorous story. Dang, it's killing me who it is. All right. I think I have one more. Let me check. No, nothing much to go on here. Just the basics. And I hope you enjoyed this. And like I said, when it comes to like Wonder Man or Scarlet Centurion or any of those characters, you know, let me know your thoughts on that. And you can write them down. I'm gonna bury this episode in comic books. How you like that? Or a big old surfer. Okay. And then a delicate little one issue. And then I'm blocking you all out. Well, anyway, I love y'all. I hope you enjoyed this, and please comment below and share your memories of some of these really cool characters that were Kirby and non-Kirby. And if you even have other ideas, I'd be glad to pursue them. So thanks a lot, everybody. Much love, and take care.